All right. So here we have the retro media shuffler. So it's essentially the Simpsons Raspberry Pi shuffler with a bunch more features, just a far more advanced version. It's made to be headless, no UI. There will be some on-screen display sharing information with you, but other than that, there's no screens to scroll through, read, anything. It's just all physically controlled through the buttons and a switch. So on this side, you have a three-way switch, which brings you through your different modes. We push it this way, it'll bring us to playlist mode. This plays everything within the directory sequentially of however it's organized within the folder. All right, and if I go back to shuffle mode, it'll bring me back to the same file that was just playing before I had switched. In shuffle mode, it's similar to playlist mode, except it shuffles everything within the directory and creates a playlist. That playlist will stay there forever shuffled until you want to clear it. So if you hold this middle button here, it'll reshuffle everything within that directory for you and make a new shuffled playlist. And then the third mode is broadcast mode, which I'm still currently working on, so nothing will show up there. But that'll be like a TV station always playing in the background. You'll be able to add your own commercials. There'll be preloaded things on here already that you'll be able to use. And then you can have watermarks you can scroll through to make your own TV stations. I'm going to use text-based files for you to be able to edit with blank templates. So you just plug in your directory names and it'll automatically use whatever template you've chosen to create the channels based on some parameters. So some of the other buttons here, you can skip a file forward on your playlist. If you hold it, it'll return back. And then you have your directory button here. If you press that, it'll go to the next directory. And it compiles a new shuffle list for you unless you already had one. You hold it, go back. It'll go back to the directory you were just in. And as I demonstrated before, this is your reset your shuffle list. And if you're in playlist mode, it just brings you back to the beginning of the playlist. If you hit it once, just tapping it, it pauses. Hit it again, it unpauses. A feature that I'm working on right now is when you pause, it timestamps. That way, if you power down or switch directories or modes, when you come back, it'll continue at the same spot you were in whatever file you were watching. So if you're in the middle of a movie, but you want to pause it, go change channels or something to watch something with someone else and come back, easy. And then over here, you have some modifiers, which modify these buttons. So if I hold this down and press the middle button, I can change the audio gain of the file. So if I have a really quiet file, I can use that to make it louder and it'll stay persistent. It'll record it, log it for you. So every time that episode plays or that file, it will have the audio adjusted quieter or louder, however you have it set. Holding the modifier and hitting your file or directory buttons skips ahead a minimum of 2 files or directories. The bigger the list, the more it skips ahead. So if you have 1,000, it's going to skip way more files than 2. That way you don't have to sit here and push through it. So you have those 3 features. And then when you hold the second modifier, it's for a sleep timer. So if I'm holding that and I hit the first one, you can see the LED turns green, which is sleep mode. That means since I hit the first one, it'll sleep after this current file is done playing. If I hold it again and press it, it adds another file. So after the second file is done playing, it'll go to sleep. If I hold that button, it clears it, takes it out of sleep mode. And holding the modifier and hitting your middle button, that's a timed based one. So that adds 30 minutes or subtracts 30 minutes if you hold it. This one adds 2 hours or subtracts 2 hours if you hold it. Then I can just clear that out if I want. Okay. And then that moves across modes. So if you choose a certain amount of episodes and change to a different mode, it'll change with that as well. And then you can quarantine files. So if you have files that are freezing or stopping, there's a manual quarantine. If you hold these, the light will then turn white and warn you it's about to quarantine. So if I would have kept holding that for a few more seconds, it would block this file and just always never put it in a playlist. There's also freeze detection. It's not immediate. Currently, it's time-based. So at the end of the file, if it hasn't switched for a couple minutes, it'll quarantine the file on its own so it never plays again. All right, so we also have an audio mode here. If I hit the first and third button together, the light turns orange, brings up one of the random visualizers that are already pre-installed, plays music. This is in shuffle mode of your audio now, so it'll shuffle everything in the directory. Same thing, I can go to playlist mode. It'll play all the files in sequential order, just like the shuffle, or I'm sorry, just like the video mode. It also has a broadcast mode, but this is more like a radio. It'll just play radio stations for you, which you can set up just like broadcast mode, but for audio. So go into the back visualizers here. There's going to be 3 layers. You'll be able to use the internal visualizers like this. You can load images into the directory that's playing the music, and it'll use that. So you could do album art or whatever you wanted in there. And then there'll be a folder called slideshow, and you can put pictures in there, and then it'll always play your slideshow when your music plays. So right now, currently, if I change file, it'll bring up a different background visualizer for every file. So, and it's always random. And then you can do the same thing, change your directories, pause it, unpause it. If you hold that, it'll shuffle or go back to the beginning playlist. So I'll bring it back to video mode. Okay, now it's in playlist mode and video mode. It's recalibrating there. So yeah, that's mostly covers everything there. There's some more advanced things getting planned, but 5 buttons and a switch. That's essentially all your controls. You got the combinations. I'll make the print files available. This is essentially the inside. This is a 2-button version with just directory and file. This works well for the Pi 1, which takes a little longer to load stuff, and a Pi 3 B Plus would load this much faster even. So this is the inside. It uses these micro switches, which at some point I will leave a link to a way to get a hold of all these, but it just slides right in there. Okay, just press fits right in. And right here, this thing is what holds the LED. So here's a 5-button version. Same idea. And then this is representative of your Pi board. That just sticks right on in there. Then your top just goes on there. And it's a snap fit together. Once you press them in, it's basically permanently snapped on. I mean, you could pull it apart if you want to, but yeah, it'll have to work for it. Yeah, it just press fits together, nice and clean print. It's a replica of a VHS. This one. So it's got the front there, and then you got the back of it. So yeah, I'll probably make a few more videos in the future going over some more of this and have details of where to download it all once I'm finished. Oh, and actually, I do have a couple more features to show you. Just so you can see the USB, there's a fallback mode. So right now it's in video mode and playlist, but if I unplug the USB that has the video on it, it'll stop and automatically switch over to the next available media, which is, in this case, audio. All right. If I unplug the audio, it goes to a fallback screen, and it's just a RMS branded looping screen, and it randomly chooses one of those at startup, and we'll use it until power down, and when you power on again, it'll randomly choose another one of those. So, and that's essentially the gist of that. And you can plug them back in. It'll read the media, check for any playlists it was just using, and then it gives you a grace period. It's making sure you're not plugging in more USBs a minute, and then it'll load right back into where it left off. So hope you enjoyed that. I'll try to keep this updated and share any files with anyone. Thanks.